Well, I'm here at the scene of the Bannack fire west of Dillon, where firefighters are battling the first major wildfire of the season.
More than a dozen U.S. Marines are under arrest for human smuggling. I'm Laura Podesta with details on what they're accused of and why 8 more Marines are being questioned for drug-related crimes.
Good morning to you and welcome to your final Friday of July. I'm Missy O'Malley, very pleased to be with you this morning. Matt Elwell has our weekend forecast in just a moment. Chet Lehman is off today. Our top treasure state story for you now. Fire crews west of Dillon continue to battle a wildfire that started on Tuesday. And FTN's John Amy was there on the fire line to give us an update on our first major wildfire of the season for our area.
Fire crews, with the help of air support, are busy trying to control the Bannack wildfire burning southwest of Dillon, which is the first major wildfire in Montana that started earlier this week.
We're making a lot of progress. The first night it grew to about 150 acres and it hasn't really grown since then.
Lightning started the fire earlier this week about a mile south of Bannack and is burning in rocky terrain of sage, grass, and timber. More than 60 firefighters and 2 helicopters have been working throughout the day trying to stop the fire from spreading.
Around noon or a little bit after noon, we're starting to enter our burning period, the prime time when fire behavior starts to increase, our relative humidities start dropping, and our temperatures start to increase. Might start seeing more smoke off of the fire anywhere from this time till about 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
So I'm here in the burn zone of the Bannack fire. In fact, you can see a little flame there behind me. There's hot spots all around this area, but crews say they have a handle on the fire, but they're not ready to say it's contained.
We got a lot of spots on the north side of that fire, and just getting a handle on those, trying to find them, that's our biggest challenge right now.
Near Bannack, John Amy, MTN News.
Now, fortunately, no structures in the area are in danger at this time, and the town of Bannack does remain open for business. So, working on that fire line.
That's good, and we're still really focusing on fire danger because we're still seeing that heightened threat because of how dry and low humidity everything's been. We do have a fire weather watch out for parts of the area through midnight on Saturday. It's mainly to the north and along the Rocky Mountain front, but certainly that does translate back to us with the dry conditions. Now, we are dealing with some cooler temperatures in the morning, and that's helping some of the recovery on that humidity during the evening and overnight hours. Mainly dealing with clear skies now, a few high clouds trying to roll through the afternoon. The clouds start to build, temperatures back into the mid to upper 80s along the way, but we do have shower chances as well. We'll talk more about that, of course, in just a few minutes.
Thank you for that, Matt. A handgun was recovered from a vehicle where 2 people were found dead after a short pursuit with Flathead law enforcement. This was Wednesday evening, and it started around 10 o'clock when a Kalispell police officer tried to stop a vehicle with Oregon plates on Highway 93 North. The officer contacted a man and a woman who were inside that vehicle before they drove off. Flathead County Sheriff's Office responded to a brief pursuit that followed. Now, officers eventually stopped the vehicle with spike stripes and they pulled it off to the side of the road. Authorities ordered that pair to exit the vehicle, but there was no movement. When officers approached the car, they found both occupants dead, apparently from gunshot wounds. Investigators say officers never fired any of their weapons. And Sheriff Brian Hino said a handgun was found in that vehicle, and the state crime lab will work on matching any of the bullets recovered to that weapon. There has not been a confirmed identity for the bodies, but the sheriff says that the investigators do have a few leads. And authorities have now released the name of the bicyclist that was killed over the weekend riding on Highway 2 near Butte. 70-year-old Randall Wayne Samstag of Bainbridge Island, Washington, was hit from behind from an RV on Sunday afternoon. He died from his injuries early Monday morning while being treated at St. Patrick's Hospital in Missoula. And state action this week has removed 27 children from a private ranch treatment in northwest Montana. This came just 3 weeks after a new state law took effect on how these centers are regulated. And as MTN's Mike Dennison reports, that law played a key role in action by taking state officials against the ranch for kids in Rexford.
State and local law enforcement and other officials showed up at the ranch for kids on Tuesday morning with a court order to remove the kids and an emergency suspension of the organization's license. The latter action is by the State Department of Public Health and Human Services, which, thanks to a new law, now regulates 14 of these private facilities known as outdoor treatment programs for troubled youths. DPHHS official Erica Johnston also says publicity about the new law played a role in the investigation and action at the ranch.
I would actually credit the public awareness that was created during the legislative session with creating the atmosphere that allowed witnesses to come forward and present corroborating investigative responses that allowed us to act quickly.
The new law took regulation away from a state board, whose members included owners of some of the facilities. The push for the new law came after an investigative series by the Missoulian newspaper outlining complaints against the facilities with rare action by the regulating board. Ranch for Kids director Rick Sutley didn't respond to a request for comment, but has said he plans to contest the suspension of the ranch's license. State and local law enforcement also is conducting a criminal investigation of abuse allegations at the ranch that go back for years. State Justice Department officials helped with the removal of the kids and are continuing to work on what one top official described as a difficult case.
This is the type of a case where we probably don't have physical evidence. This is the part where we have witnesses, we have memories of children and the things that they experienced, and we have a lot of interviews to do.
The state cited allegations of kids being hit and kicked, spit on by the staff, and subjected to psychological abuse and excessive discipline. Local prosecutors will decide any charges, and Lockerbie says that could take some time. As for the children, state officials say they're working with a child psychiatrist and others to ensure their safety and well-being.
Some children who have gone home with their parents already. There are some children who remain in Montana, and we really took a careful approach to ensuring that the care moving forward for these children, if they're still in our custody, is trauma-informed and safe.
Reporting from Helena, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
The State Health Department also says they are preparing for new inspections and licensing rules for these kind of facilities. In other news, more than a dozen U.S. Marines are now in custody this morning, accused of being a part of a human smuggling ring. Laura Podesta reports from New York for CBS News.
16 Marines stationed at Southern California's Camp Pendleton were taken into custody early yesterday. All are accused of helping to smuggle migrants into the U.S.
Basically, it's a shock to the system.
The arrests happened as the Marines stood gathered in battalion formation. A spokeswoman said the operation was carried out in public with the goal of sending a message.
As soon as the arrests happen, the staff NCOs and officers are really talking in an open dialogue with their Marines.
The inquiry is being handled by the NCIS, the Naval Criminal Investigative Service. Its probe began July 3rd when a Border Patrol agent stopped 2 other Camp Pendleton Marines near the Mexican border. 3 undocumented migrants were allegedly hiding in their back seat. The military says information from that case led to Thursday's arrests.
If and when those charges are brought to those Marines, at that point we'll be able to release the identification of those Marines plus the specifications of what they've actually been charged with.
8 additional Marines from Camp Pendleton were taken into custody for questioning about a separate criminal matter. It's believed to be drug-related. Laura Podesta, CBS News.
Now, all of the accused are believed to be in between the ages of 18 and 22 and serving for their first tours of duty. The Marine Corps says none of them had been assigned to any duties related to border security. In news closer to home, Anaconda is honoring a veteran from the First World War at a very special ceremony later today. A 100-year-old uniform of Anaconda's Daniel McCavanagh will be displayed in the Anaconda courthouse this afternoon. McCavanagh immigrated from Ireland and settled in Anaconda before serving in World War I in 1918, where he was wounded in combat.
Though I never met him, he was a war hero. And our family is very proud of him.
Now the public is invited to the ceremony this afternoon at 4 o'clock at the courthouse. It is time for a quick break. Let's take a